Eric Cain, fantastic. If you haven't checked out Locked On Vols, I'm sure you have at this point, but you need to. How do people follow your work, Eric, to make sure?
Yeah, just follow me on Twitter at underscore Cainer, and pretty much all my work at VolQuest.com and Locked On Vols, and you can always find us on the YouTube channel Locked On Vols. We put up a new episode every single morning.
Yep, absolutely, and great stuff. If you want an overall rundown of what the Vols are doing, love it. Eric, again, I wanted to talk baseball, but I had somebody say something to me over the weekend within Tennessee's football program, and it was just kind of one of those phrases that stick out. And they said, the recruiting is not on point. It's on point, but it's not on point. So I don't want to read too much into that, but when you hear something like that, I'm just curious when you look at recruiting because you know the whole scope of it. How close are they to where they want to be, where they're competing top three, top five? Because there's a difference between top 10.
Yeah, there certainly is. I mean, you can be number 8 in the country, but still be number 4 or 5 in the SEC, right?
Yeah.
It just means more. I mean, I think Tennessee's been recruiting well. I think Josh Heupel has recruited well since he's been here, and truly, the way I look at it, this past signing day, that 2023 cycle was his first true. Was there from the beginning, saw it through. I mean, that was his first cycle, in my opinion. 2022, he got here in February, at the end of January, right? I mean, he was behind the 8 ball so much and he addressed needs. I mean, he went out. Obviously, you lead off with your 5-star quarterback in Nico, and you bring him in. That's a big old check. You got a quarterback. You got guys who can rush the quarterback. You went and solidified needs on the defensive line. You closed well with a 5-star in David Hobbs and found the running back that you wanted and an in-state guy and a linebacker in Aaron Carter. So I think Heupel did a great job of closing this class. I think Heupel did a great job of addressing needs. And of course, it's the value of the beholder, right? Every coach is gonna say that they love their class and that they got hidden gems and all that. But I think Heupel really enjoys this class and found a few diamonds in the rough. So, you want to be able to be not, it'd be nice to be, ranked number 1 in recruiting or ranked number 5 in recruiting or whatever. But at the end of the day, you want to be winning those battles against Alabama, against Georgia, against LSU, Florida, and you're starting to do that. Again, David Hobbs came to Tennessee over a couple of those schools. Aaron Carter picked Tennessee over Alabama. Alabama and Georgia wanted to get involved in Nico, but Tennessee, got that wrapped up, quickly. They were going to have him as a backup option for Arch Manning. So, not necessarily be paying attention to the ratings per se, but pay attention to the individual battles of who is Tennessee winning out over. And I think you're starting to see a little bit more consistently, Tennessee's winning out over Alabama, where this guy was a take at Alabama as well.
Go ahead and hit that like button. I haven't said that yet today because so much going on with the Super Bowl and the passing of Gus Manning. Hit the like button. We greatly appreciate that. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. So I'm going to play devil's advocate if you don't care on that recruiting aspect for a second. When you elevate guys like Kelsey Pope, Joey Halsley, Alec Ablin, those guys do not have the same connections that a Rodney Garner would have. That Tennessee would be better off going out and getting a bona fide recruiter with hundreds of more recruiting connections. I'm just playing devil's advocate, throwing that at you.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like the tight ends hire and all that, I mean, you're 100% correct. That's going to be something to kind of test out here, and that's going to be the risk factor. Is as far as knowing someone who knows the system, knowing someone who knows how to work within the coaching staff, the offense. Al Cable made so much sense. He played in this offense. He even took snaps at tight end in this offense a couple of years ago at Missouri. He's been in the meeting room with Josh Heupel ever since the year 2021. He's learned from Ellerby. He's learned from Heupel. So that makes a whole lot of sense. He's been here the last 2 years, but he's never been out on the road recruiting. And so, yeah, that is, I mean, recruiting is a huge part of what college football is. So I'm interested to see kind of how he does in that world of recruiting. He's done a lot from campus. He's done a lot on campus. He's called recruits. It's not like it's foreign to him, but it's a little different situation now that you're an on the field coach. So, we'll see. Kelsey Pope, I think, has done a nice job, since his elevation. And he had been an on the field coach before, and he's been a recruiter before, his elevation here at Tennessee. But still, it's the kind of the same situation. So, we'll see exactly what this class of 2024 holds for the Vols. If they can, make a push to go up the rankings a little bit more, see how Ablin does. Tight end position is going to be critical in this class because you're going to lose 2 tight ends at the end of this year, and You're going to have one returner that's a blue chip prospect, and then that's it, right? So he'll have to prove his worth for sure this cycle.
Eric, how much is the because you're right, Josh Heupel was just getting his feet wet when he had to recruit for 2022, and also most of the recruiting for the 2022 class was done before he coached the game, and then most of the recruiting for this class was done before he just went 11-2 and finished in the top 10.
Well,
and the NCAA investigation is it's not over. It hasn't wrapped up yet. How much will the wrapping up of the NCAA investigation be a huge boost to Josh Heupel trying to recruit for 2024?
I mean, honestly, I don't think it'll be that much of a factor, to be completely honest. I mean, it's not wrapped up yet. There was like a 60-day period wherever, Tennessee had to, answer back to the notice of allegations, or the NCAA had to get back to that and all that type of stuff. There's not going to be any postseason bowl ban. There's not going to be anything big like that. But you're right, it's not over, and you want to go ahead and get this over with and clean and kind of move on. But as far as recruiting, that's not going to happen because they've pretty much already seen that they were not punishing the 2023 team or the 2022 team. They're not going to punish a team that's here now for violations that happened before they even stepped foot on campus with a prior regime. I think that's pretty evident. So I don't think it's going to play, show that much of a difference, for how a recruit looks at Tennessee, because, Josh Heupel's already recruiting at a top 10 clip and getting in some blue chip prospects and all that type of stuff. So, we'll see exactly what happens. Now, other programs use that to negatively recruit against Tennessee a little bit, as they should. Maybe that stops once it's completely all said and done, but I don't think it'll be that big of a difference.